Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and today we're going to be talking about sin, a more deeper dive on it, guys. I've just been feeling super convicted lately to talk about this because I feel like it's not really talked about that much. Also, I did recently move places, that's why my room setup looks a little different, so just don't mind that. But yeah, let's get into it. So I was just doing my Bible reading one day, and I got this thought, and I've heard it a lot before, but it came up, and it was basically saying that sin looks like freedom until you try to stop. The minute you try to stop sinning, it doesn't feel fun anymore. It doesn't feel like, oh, it's not a problem. No, it's like you actually realize, wait, the sin that I kept doing is actually a problem. Like, I'm trying to stop it, and it's really, really hard. And whatever that sin may be, it becomes extremely hard to stop the minute you realize that you need to stop. So, and I do want to preface that sin does have a hold on you. The more you give it, the more of a hold it has on you. Literally in the Bible, it talks about us being, slaves to sin. Of course, up until Jesus came and pay the price and freed us from that sin, and all the sin, and gave us the power to overcome sin. We were slaves to sin. We're all born sinners, so we all have that one sin from man, of course, from Adam and Eve. So Galatians 6:8 actually says, those who live only to satisfy their own sinful nature will harvest decay and death from that sinful nature, but those who live to please the Spirit will harvest everlasting life from the Spirit. Literally, whatever you feed is what will grow, what will be your harvest. And if you're only planting, sinful things into your life, what do you think the harvest will be? It will be sinful. It will not be a life that is pleasing to God and that will satisfy you. You just won't be satisfied when you're constantly sinning, because God is our satisfaction. He is all we need. And so sin does produce eternal death, but Jesus gave us life when he died on the cross, and the power to break free from that sin, from whatever sin you're dealing with. On that next point, 1 Corinthians 10:13 says, the temptations in your life are no different from what others experience, and God is faithful. He will not allow the temptation to be more than you can stand. When you are tempted, he will show you a way out so that you can endure. I was dealing with a certain sin, and I realized that I was running away from it, like, I was really trying to avoid that one sin, right? But the problem is that I was running from that sin, but I wasn't running to God with it. I was just thinking, I can handle this on my own. I'm strong enough. I just gotta have self-control, yada yada, like all the stuff that we tell ourselves that we can do. But honestly, we can't do it by ourselves. And so, flee from sin. Yes, do that. I'm not saying that you don't run away from sin, right? But you need to flee towards God, right? Like, you flee from sin, but you turn towards God and ask him for help, ask him for just guidance and help on how to, like, break free from that sin, whatever it is, because you honestly can't do it alone. You will try, but you will fail, and I've learned this the hard way, and this is what kind of opened me up to this topic. And so I want to talk about, where does temptation come from, right? Because God doesn't tempt us, right? He does put challenges in our way to see if we will endure, which is what that 1 Corinthians 10:13 was saying. But I'm going to be looking in James 1:14 and then James 1:15. It says, temptation comes from our own desires, which entice us and drag us away. These desires give birth to sinful actions, and when sin is allowed to grow, it gives birth to death. Because temptation comes from our own desires, it does have the ability to pull us away from God when we allow it to. Like it's saying here, if you give birth, if you step into those sinful desires, you're basically watering the sinful plant, basically, and you're gonna reap a sinful harvest, right? Your life is gonna look sinful, your thoughts are gonna be sinful, just everything in general is gonna be sinful. And we know that sin equals death, right? Like, sin equals eternal death, right? And I don't mean like you're dead, like you die immediately when you sin. No, like I'm talking about like eternal death, like you're not gonna go up to heaven type stuff, because sin can't enter heaven, right? That's why Jesus had to die, so that we could be able to go up there, because he was a perfect, sinless person. I would just say, don't let it grow. Try your best, guys. Don't give up. It is hard in the beginning, and it honestly will sometimes always be hard in certain times. Like, I've literally been following Jesus for like almost a year now, like actually following him. Like, I got baptized this same month, but last year, and so much has changed, guys. Like, I remember I was on fire for God in the beginning, and I still am, but there are the world does try to keep you, away from God. Everything around in this world does not just, it just doesn't want you with God, right? It's literally like the minute I gave my life to God, sin didn't look like freedom. It didn't. And then when I tried to stop, it was so hard. Like, it's still hard, but it was way harder in the beginning, because it was the devil noticing that, oh my goodness, like, this, she's leaving me, like, she's leaving the world, she's going to God. And it feels all fun and games, right? Doing all the worldly stuff in this world, it feels so much fun, right? Until you try to stop and do that. I encourage you guys to try that little experiment, because it's insane how much like things change when you give your life to God, but in a better way. It's not like you're gonna, like, life's gonna be 10 times worse. No, you're actually gonna have a person that can help you throughout life. It's the best thing ever. I wouldn't like trade it for the world. 1 John 3:8, it actually says, but when people keep on sinning, it shows that they belong to the devil, who has been sinning since the beginning. But the Son of God came to destroy the works of the evil. So when you are constantly sinning, and you're sinning, like, you're not clueless, right? Some people don't know about God, but when you know about God and you're deliberately sinning, you're basically telling God, like, hey, I belong to the devil. Like, that's it. Like, I just belong to him. And it's insane, right? Because God created you for a purpose, and you're just throwing it all away for temporary pleasure, for temporary desires, for this temporary world, guys. Actually, like, when I think about this world, when I think about like my future and stuff, I don't think too much about it, because in reality we can die anytime. But not only that, like, this is not my home. I'm in this world, but I'm not of this world. I don't want to be in this world. And that's not saying in a suicidal way. It's just like, I'd rather be up there with Jesus. I'd rather be up there with God. Like, I'm here because God wants me here right now. But I'm like Paul. If you go read Paul, like, in the New Testament, like, it's so much better. It would be so much better to be up there with him. But he has all of us here for a purpose. We can make an impact on others and show Jesus' love to those who don't know him. And so I do realize that today's generation makes sin like feel like fun, but the devil is the prince of deception, guys. I don't know if you realize that, but like, he's so great at manipulating. It's insane. But once you realize that, everything that you go up against in this world, you're realizing that you're not fighting like actual people and things. We're not fighting against like flesh and blood, right? Like, we're fighting against, a lot of unbelievers are like, well, my life is so good, like, I don't need Jesus, like, I've always been fine. But guys, he will leave you be. He will leave you have your little time, because the devil also gives us stuff too, right? Like, he will give us these blessings, but they're not really blessings. They're just like, you're basically giving them to yourself by like satisfying your own desires. But he will leave you be when you're living in sin, because that's exactly where he wants you to be. He does not want you to be, crying out for the Lord. He wants you to be happy in your bubble, that you think that everything's totally fine. But in reality, when we don't have Jesus, that temporary world, that temporary happiness will not be enough. Yes, the trials and tribulations do come when you like try to leave that sinfulness and like follow Jesus, but it's like, it's a season, guys. It's not like constant. There's waves, okay? And the greatest part of it all is that like, Jesus is there with you guys. Like, he won't leave you, he will never forsake you, and he loves you. And I promise you, it is way better doing life with him than without him. Like, I don't want life without him. That just seems so scary to me. I don't even want to think about it. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a like, comment, and subscribe for more. Also, comment like what God has like talked to you guys about, or anything you've been praying about that God has answered, or just any prayers down below. I'll be praying for you guys as well. God bless.